Hey everyone, welcome back to the Lincoln Ranch. This video is going to be about pulling the dash fascia off and getting access to the clock. It's not a hard job. Once you've done it, you know, the first time it's kind of awkward, but after you've done it the first time it's pretty simple. But also I still have two videos in process of the white town car. At the time I was making those videos, if you've watched the earlier videos, son-in-law was killed in a car crash, and so I've kind of been down in the dumps a little bit. I just can't sit down and edit that video. It's just every time we watch those videos I think about what happened at that time. So I've been struggling to finish off. It's either going to be a two more parts or one longer part, but anyway, there is another video coming out of buffing out that Lincoln town car. But this video is going to be about pulling the clock out of this and getting the clock running again. So thanks for sticking around and enjoying the videos. I have enjoyed your comments. If you're not a member, please hit that subscribe button. Hit the likes and the comments. It all helps in the channel. My channel's getting there. I think I've reached my hours. I just need to reach my subscribers. So, but we're getting there. So that's what this video is about: pulling the clock out of a Mark III Lincoln, or Mark III Continental, because they were not Lincolns, they were just Continentals. So thanks guys. So what you're going to need is a little flat screwdriver, a couple of Phillips, depending on if you have tilt steering or not, and a little pick. Because how these, oh sorry, didn't mean to bump the camera. How these work is, there's 5 screws under here. You've got to take those 5 screws out, and then we've got to pry this fascia off. But there is little square hook and loop plastic things that kind of hold the bottom half in. You know, I was going to use another word, but apparently that's copyrighted. Sorry, I can't use the other word for the hook and loop. But you'll need to tilt your steering out of the way. If you have tilt steering, I'll show you if you have tilt steering. Now if you have a cruise control car, there's the cruise, try to avoid using this knob to tilt the steering, because these are a very fragile plastic. I always just grab it here, and you'll know if you've got tilt because it's springy. So what you want to do is pull the steering wheel right down as far as it'll go, because we've got to get this out of here. And then a couple of other things later on is we've got to disconnect the plug on the back of the fascia, well actually on the gauges. But the fascia comes off, that's not a problem. But once we get into getting the clock, because I've got to pull this clock out, there's the speedo cable in here, and also a strip connector. Now what I like to do is, if you have a cruise control car, this makes it a little bit easier, because that actual dash cluster is really tight in there. Pop the hood. Sorry, I just have to use 2 hands. Hang on a minute guys. Okay, so here is your cruise control box. Now one of these cables goes down to the transmission, and the other one goes to the dash. It's actually the big one. Disconnect that large cable like that. Like I say, I've got the battery disconnected. That way you can pull that whole cluster out, because this is holding it really tight. So disconnecting this cable, if you have cruise, makes it a little easier. So, and then, like I said before, there's 5 screws underneath this whole fascia. So we'll get these screws out and then go to the next step. So over by the steering column, you'll probably need a little short screwdriver, but the other ones you should be able to use a regular size, a regular length. You put the screws on the floor, they won't go anywhere. So you just come over, because there's one screw almost right above the steering column, and it can get a little tight with a this one fits. We're good. Usually I use a little stubby. There we go. Take this fight. Dropped one. Drop the screw. Where did it go? There, I see it. It fell in right on the slide of the speaker balance. So, grab a little magnet. Right here. Got it. And the last one is right behind the cruise control switch. Right here. Now you need a little flat screwdriver and a pick. Especially if you have the cruise control. I don't know if you guys can see, but just make sure the camera can see it. Right at the end of the dash, underneath, there's a switch for the cruise control. I'll show you. That's the on-off switch, how you power it. In the middle, that's your dome light. I've got the battery disconnected. And that's your antenna, up and down. And then over here is your on-off switch for your cruise. Now what we're going to do now, I've got the screws out, is with a little flat screwdriver and a pick. This is the wrong pick. I've got another one, it's got another turn on it. We've got to get up in here, and we've got to pull, there's a steel plate here that's attached to this, and we've got to pry it down, see, like that, see it popped. But I need to grab my other pick. Hang on a minute, guys. Got a better pick. Got a pick, it's got a good hook on it. See that? And this one has a, normally it's a little more bent, but I've used it a lot. So what we want is the hook, get it up where the dome light is. Just be careful you don't bust the lens. But up in here we've got to hook that dome light. See, you just pull the whole bracket forward. Is a metal, it's a folded metal plate. See, there it goes. So usually it hangs up on these switches, so I grab a little flat screwdriver and just kind of bend this down to pop it, so I can pop it down past these switches. And that one there, because that one, you don't want to bust the speed switch off. And then you just kind of pick it up. It's not too heavy. You just got to be careful, because with age, these are plastic and they get very dry and brittle, these things here. You can take them out to, I do re-chrome these. I use those chrome pens, they're really good. I bought a set off eBay. But you just take this whole panel out, put it somewhere safe. But I'll show you with these chrome, these bezels. The 69s are not too bad because this is metal, it's fake wood, but on these ones it's real wood, so you don't want to crack your wood. But if you want to re-chrome these, there's also a chrome edge on the inside here, and you can take them out and redo them, but they are a different size, but they're numbered. They're numbered or alphabetical, I can't remember which it is, and they got top written on them. But So they've got little screws holding them in. You can take them out, but just if you want to just, you know, write 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on there. But they aren't alphabetically numbered, or yeah, see, they're alphabetical. So here's A, B, C, D, and E, because they're all different sizes. And you can come in here and clean up your lenses for your indicators. See, that's the hook and loop. Little plates. It's actually missing one, or tore it off. It's not too bad. The thing sits, once it's in there, it's locked in there. It can't fall out. But yeah, so you can go around and repaint these. I think I've got them handy. I used to have them up here. Here they go. I ordered these off eBay. These are those liquid chrome pens. They do a good job. They're not perfect like, you know, but I'll show you how they come out. I did the dash on that red car because it was kind of looking a little dull. As you can see it looks pretty good. That's with the chrome pen, and you can do this is all paint, this is all fake chrome, it's not steel, they're all plastic. This one's not looking that great, but I could probably go over it again. But yeah, so I did the edges in there, and I did the inside edges, a little chrome edge on the inside. But yeah, see, the clock doesn't work on this either. There's actually a video of this car, not this particular car, but a brand new one, a 70 or a 71 with a Cartier clock. It was brand new on a promotional video, and the fucking clock was dead. That's how bad those Cartier clocks are. So this one is actually still in very nice shape. I just need to clean it. Just give it a little light wipe. Don't use any harsh chemicals on it, because this is only fake chrome. It'll just rip it off. And normally there is a little gap here. This thing does shrink. You know, originally it went all the way across and they touched. But this is just stuck on there as well. It's a soft plastic. But with age they kind of separate. But yeah, so that's how you do it. You just, when it's in the dash, there's a little lip in here. This is this metal? Yeah, it is. There's a little metal a fold in here, so you can kind of hook it with a little pick, and you can yank it out. So now we've got the cluster out. What we have to do now is I can't remember what size they are. There's like little tiny little, see, there's a whole row of little nuts in here. Some, oh no, that one doesn't have it. It's just 1, 2, 3. Yeah, there is one there. 4, 5, 6. You can't remove the wiper switch without disconnecting, because it's got hydraulic lines going to it. We don't need to touch that wiper switch. You know, in the 69s they do have a secondary switch inside that opens and closes the vent in the back. I think it's a vacuum switch. I do have one that has an electric fan on it. When I switch it over, the fan runs in the back and draws the air out. But we need to get these little screws here out. So there's none there. I don't think this. Yeah, there is one in the corner. There is one way in the corner. You have to peel the dash rubber back a little bit. There's not one there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we'll get those out. Oh, let me find the socket and I'll tell you what size the socket is. I use a little socket set on them. But the next hardest part is reaching around and disconnecting the speedo cable. The speedo cable is a snap fit. It's not a screw on. There's 2 plastic tabs that lock it in place to the speedo. And there's one huge big strip connector that powers all the dash. But I'll show you that when we get to it. So first of all, we'll get all these screws out. But you can see the little hook and loop tabs. That one's broken too. And there's one there and two more down there. And if we're lucky, there might be a build sheet behind the clock. There's a big wiring loom and there should be a build sheet wrapped around it. So if you can't find build sheets in your back seat or under the driver's seat, there should be a build sheet under there. And while we're talking about build sheets, if you've got a nice original car and it hasn't been messed with rats and mice and stuff, there is another build sheet in this big panel. I've already taken it out, but pull that back insulation panel out and there'll be a build sheet under there. There'll be two under the back seat, on each seat, upper and lower, and normally they are under the front seats too. That one still has the build sheet under the front seat, and I've already pulled 4 build sheets out of this car. I keep them for documentation. Like the other day, that 4-door, I finally found out where they keep the build sheet, because there's no build sheets in the back seat of that, but I did find the build sheet for it. So there's the build sheet for that 78, because I wanted to know if it was an export car, and it is. This car went to Mexico, brand new, but then was brought back to Tucson and sold new in Tucson. I gotta file that away. So let me find the socket so we know what size those nuts are. Those little they're actually little screws, and then we'll carry on. So the socket is a 1/4 inch. Like I say, there's one here in the corner. It's right just behind the dash. It's kind of hard to see, but usually they cut the dash a little. They haven't trimmed. What I mean is they trim this hole out when this dash is made, and they've kind of left it a little proud, like you guys back in the old days. If you built model kits, it was called flash. There's like a little strip of flash there, and you probably need the magnet to grab these little screws. Sorry, didn't mean to bump the camera. So you grab the little screws. No, there is not one in that top corner. It's been a while since I've done this. So you just go around. You can use electric impact if you want, but I'm just doing this for a demonstration. Not everybody has all the tools. Now these clocks were used up to 1970, and after that, you know, they went to the Cartier clock, which is an electronic clock. This is a mechanical clock. Now you do, I can't remember, it's been a while since I've done this. I think we do have to loosen the wiper switch, but not take it out, because this one is tucked in underneath. I'll show you what I mean. A little close up. The wiper switch was installed after the cluster. You can see there's a little tab here, and it tucks in underneath, so you just need to unscrew it, not take it out, but just loosen it so you can get that cluster out. There's one right behind this hook and loop tab. We have to bend it out of shape. Kind of just put your fingers, you can pull it down like that, it bends, and then when we're finished, push it back into shape. It shouldn't break. It's just soft metal. It's not a pot metal or anything. But yeah, so I've got 1, 2 more screws, and then 3 of these for the wiper switch. But this wiper switch is not coming out. It's a lot of work because it's got hydraulic lines into the back of it, because this is a hydraulic operated wiper motor. So we just take these screws out. This is a 69, so the shifter isn't locked. You just pull it down. 70 and 71, you're going to have to put the key in you can disconnect the battery and then put the key in the ignition and put it in first, get that shifter out of the way. So now, just do this. We'll see if there's a build sheet in there. Sorry if it's a little shaky. And this stuff is really brittle. See, it's even that little tab there broke off and I didn't even touch it. This white plastic, it's the same in my Mustang. The white plastic, it just disintegrates as soon as you try to touch it or do anything. It's a really poor quality plastic. You just take that screw out, and this one, they're finger tight now. So we just need to get that wiper switch out of the way, just like that. You won't get it out because you can see the lines in the back there. There's lines going to it. You just need to flip it out of the way, and then we can get to the cluster. Now to get the cluster out, we just pull it forward. It's really tight in there. The hardest part is getting to that cable, and that you have to bend these down too, because otherwise they catch on the. Let me put this back in the stand so it's a little easier to work. So to get that strip connector, we're just going to reach around the back here. You can actually pull this cover off the steering column to give you a little bit more room. Just don't tilt your steering because you'll crush the plastic. So it just gives you a little bit more maneuvering room, because we're going to reach around here. And on the top of the connector on each end is the squeeze connectors, the actual locks. Take this bulb out and reach around. You can just feel it. You can actually feel the little grips on the top and the bottom. Kind of, you gotta get past that. And this is like I said guys, this is the hardest part. Just actually reaching around to the back of this cluster. There we go. And we just reach around and squeeze the. So here's the connector. You just pinch the tops and the bottom. And then if you've got cruise like I have, you can pull that cable forward. Tilt the steering column down. And then the cable is just a pinch. Try and do this for you guys on the camera, it's kind of awkward. Just pinch that down, and there it goes. It's got a little tab. So there's a tab here that you push in, and that unlocks it, and that's how you get the cluster out. You can push the cable back through. I can't remember how much play you have with the regular cable, but I know with the cruise control cable, I mean, you literally have like an inch of movement from here to here. So it's easier to disconnect it at the control box, and you just pull that cable right out. It makes it so much more accessible. And there's no build sheet. I'm not seeing the wiring. Normally on the 71s there's a big fat wiring loom right here, and the build sheet's wrapped around it, and I'm not seeing anything. It's still nice and clean in here. So while we're here, you can clean up these contacts a little bit, because that's sometimes another reason why the clock doesn't work, is you get bad corrosion on the contacts, especially if you live up in the salt salt areas or moisture, and it's just not getting power to the clock. Okay, so now we've got the cluster out. So on the back of the clock, I know which is which. I write on which is negative and which is positive. So you can bench test it later on. This one here furthest to the center of the car is the positive, and that's the ground. So that's where I wrote pos, G and D, ground. Later on you can hook up your connectors and still run the clock in the cluster. Now to get this cluster apart, just need a little needle nose pliers. It's got these little clips in here, you just squeeze and push out. There you go, like that. And they just come out like so. You just go around. Like I say, this plastic is so brittle it's already broke 2 tabs off. But you know, as long as you've got the 4 center ones, you should be good. These are not a rattle car, so here's another clip. You just go around and see these little clips. You just squeeze them and pull them out. And that's how you pull the fascia off. So I think I got all the clips. So, that's right, we've got to get a little tiny little Phillips screw, a flathead screwdriver, not a Phillips, sorry, flat. Just a little one like that. Get it in here, hold the outside, and just undo that screw. And then that comes off, and then you should be able to take the fascia panel off like that. Now the clock's held in with 3 screws. Here. Put them aside. Okay. Pull the screws out. And then the clock just pulls out like that. You got the clock. So what we're going to do next is on the back you'll see this little housing. There's 3 little tabs. You just got to bend those tabs back and pull the housing off, and then we have access to the clock. And then I'll show you what we do to it. But yeah, this is that white brittle plastic as well, so be very careful with the... You don't need to take this plate off the back of the clock. All we're doing is taking this cover off. So get that cover off, and then we'll give this clock a little service, and hopefully it'll probably run if I shake it. Sometimes it still has a little bit of tension in it. No, this one's completely unwound. But anyway, so we'll get the cover off, and then I'll show you how to just do a quick service on it. It doesn't take much. So we're going to get a little strip of sandpaper, 220, 340. This is actually off my sander, my power sander. It's just, I cut a strip off. It's an old piece of sandpaper. It's one of these sticky ones with my air sander. So I just cut a little strip off, and if you look here, you see a set of points. We don't want to open these points too far, just enough to get that paper and that sandpaper in there. Because if you go too far, see now it's stuck there because it's got a detent spring or clip that won't let it shoot back, because now the clock's actually running. I've already sprayed a little bit of lube in there just to lube it up. But just wait, just put the sandpaper in there, put the folded side in, easier. Let the clock, it's actually a little too fat. So we'll just trim that paper back a little bit further. All we're doing is sanding those little points. So like that. You can actually grab it here, but be careful you don't touch the balance wheel or you'll break the pins off. So we're just opening those points up, put that back in there, and just run the sandpaper in there for a little while. Not too much, you don't want to wear it out too far, but just enough. I can see a little bit of, because what's happening is the points are arcing and sparking, they leave a little carbon, and it builds up enough carbon that it eventually doesn't make contact, so you can see a little bit of carbon on there and there. And then we'll wind it back and we can look at it. It's all nice and shiny in there. That one too. So it's running. Like I say, just give it a little bit of lube in here. Don't overdo it because you don't want the lube to leak through and then come onto the cluster, onto the fascia. But just what you can also do is put a battery, the positive terminal goes on here, and not here because this is plastic in here, but further down, like on this side where there's nothing, or maybe that one, yeah, that one. Put the ground on there and the positive on there, and just make sure it strikes. But I'll record that on a video. You see how that works. But right now it's coming back around. You can see the points there. They're not gonna. It's not gonna fire because I don't have power to it. But there's the clock running. And then once you've got it running again, just put the housing back on, like so. Make sure your insulator's still on there. Put it in there like that. Bend the tabs back down, and she's ready to go back in. And to put it back in, you know, I'm not really ready to put it in, but you just line it up. There's 2 locating pins here. You can't go wrong. Put it. I'll just do it. Show you how you do it. Just line the pins up and just push the clock back into place. And she's put the screws in, reinstall it. So that's how you service the clock. See, it's coming around. The points are coming around again. A little bit too much lube in here. Just wipe the excess off around here. It dribbles. It kind of seeps. Just as long as it doesn't seep onto the face of the clock. So if you lube it, probably let it sit upwards for a little while so the lube runs away from the face. But the clock's going to stop any minute now. There it goes, it's stopped. You can see it's slowly stopping. It's run out of spring tension, so if I pull this spring round, then the clock starts again. See? That's how it does. Every 2 or 3 minutes this actually fires. This is the one that fires. It's a spring. It's a solenoid, and it hits it so hard it shoots this one round. That's how it works. So we'll let that, you know, sit that on there. I'll hook a battery up and let it run, and we should be good to go. Okay, so I've got a battery here. Doesn't have to have much power in it. It's only going to run this clock. So I've got it wired up. This is your 12 volt positive. Just got to ground it, and we're going to watch right here. Let me point it from the other side. These points are coming together, so just make sure they're nice and clean and dry. There's no lubricant in there. It's getting ready to fire any minute. The clock is running. You should be able to hear it. You'll see that fire across. You'll hear it. There it goes. So it just rewound itself. It's coming around. So I'll just leave this on the bench for a few hours, make sure everything's good. I do have a fuse. There's a fuse here. So a little, I could probably put a 5. I've got a 10 amp fuse, but just got a, I could probably put a 5 or a, yeah, 5 would do, because there's not much, this is not drawing much power at all. It's just a little solenoid in the back here. You can actually see it through the plastic. There's the little solenoid right there. That just makes a magnetic field when those points touch, and it actually shocks this one that way. It actually clicks it that way, and it fires the other half of the points over. So that's how it works. You just got to make sure those points are nice and dry. If you've got, you know, like I lubed it, you got to make sure there's no lubrication in here, because it won't fire right. But it's coming around, so probably another 15 seconds, maybe 20 seconds, but what we're looking at is right there, those points. So I would do the same, guys. If you're going to do your clock, take it out and you know, run it on the bench for a while before putting the car back together. So any minute now, any second now, it's gonna fire right there. You should see it snap. There it goes. So I'm just going to let this run for a while, let the lube get around. I wiped off all the excess and just dabbed it, but just be careful with the wheel that you don't break the pins off. What I'm talking about is, disconnect this. Just be careful when you're handling it that you don't break the pins off the balance wheel here. That's the balance wheel right there. I'll stop it. You can see it. And the actual winding spring is right, it's hard to see, right there. There's the spring. It runs through here and it comes around to here. And that's what winds it. So the solenoid fired it and shot the points open like that. And then there's the spring there. That spring pulls it back around. But on the later Cartier clocks, they're all plastic geared, and there's it's all electronic. There is no mechanical. I don't think there's a balance wheel. It's been a while since I've done one. I did one in my Maroon 71. It worked for about 6 months and then it quit again. Those Cartier clocks are just absolute junk. I've actually thought about retrofitting an earlier clock in there, a fully mechanical clock. And even while I'm working in the garage here, I can let that run. From here, I can hear the gold car, the clock firing. I can hear all tick, and it fires. So I can hear it run. I know it's still ticking. And that, like I say, that car, I've had that car 2 years now, 3 years, and the clock's still ticking away. So the points are getting ready to fire again. They're right here, but they won't fire because I'm not hooked up. But I'll show you what happens when I do hook up. So put that on there. The ground on the body. Up here is plastic, so it won't ground. They've got to go lower. But you watch the points. See, the clock's gonna stop. The clock's slowing down. It's running out of spring. It should stop. There it is. It stopped, and now I touch this. It should fire. There it goes. I just tapped the battery with the other terminal. But normally the ground is on the back of the cover, and that grounds out on there. But I'm just grounding it directly to the clock just to make sure I'm getting a good ground. So I'm just going to let that run for an hour or two. Make sure everything's fine. Or even if you guys are You know, if you've got more time, you leave it run all night, make sure it's still going to be running in the morning. But I've usually found if it's running for an hour or two, it's fine. You just got to make sure those points are clean. Like I lubed it, and I got to make sure I've cleaned all the lube off, because if there's any lube in there, it won't fire. It's ticking away nicely. So I'll let that run for an hour or two. It's now nearly 5 in the evening. So I'm going to go and have dinner and then come out here an hour or two and see if it's still running. So I've got the fuse in there. If something does go wrong, the fuse should pop. I can actually put a smaller fuse in there. See if I can find a 5 amp. Yeah, I've even got better. I've got a 2 amp fuse. So just take that out. I heard it fire, so I can take this out. Put that. So if something goes wrong, it'll pop that fuse. Hopefully it'll pop the fuse. But it's a 2 amp. I can't see any 5 amps laying around. So we'll let that run and come back later on after dinner and put the car back together. It's the next day. It's still running good. It's actually nearly 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Weather outside is terrible. Ugh. We're getting that storm that just hit California. So I am gonna clean the gauges. If you clean these ones, they're held in the plastic's held in the same way as this actual fascia. Those little clips, you just got to squeeze them and push them out, but be very careful wiping the backs of these lenses, because that white lettering, I don't know what sort of ink they used or paint, but it's very weak. Your glass cleaner will actually wipe it off. So just kind of go around it, like I want to clean around these corners and under here, especially at the bottom where they collect dirt and dust. But yeah, just be very careful wiping those lenses down on the back. I mean, because I learnt my lesson the hard way. I sprayed glass cleaner on the back and started wiping it, and wiped out a whole fascia. Yeah, so, but yeah, she's still ticking. So I left it running all night. So we've got the fascia, got the dials cleaned up, and here's the clock. It only goes in one way. It has 2 locating pins in here that lock in here. So we just grab the clock, kind of line them up, and it should just snap into place. Just got to make sure it's flat. Snap, and then put the 3 screws back in. Hold it in place. And don't over tighten it. Like I say, this plastic is so fragile. It just crumbles when you bend it or try to do a screw up too tight. It'll probably just snap, crack the housing just enough so it's just snug. It won't go anywhere. And then we take the fascia. Like I've cleaned the backs. I took them out and did clean them. So now we've got to line up the adjuster pin Put it in there like so. And now we just grab these little snap fits and you just put the cluster back together. That's how it goes back together. Next job is putting it back in the car. Got the face on. Now we've got to put the stem back on for the adjuster. This is what it looks like. It's just a shaft with a long little screw. Just sit there on there. Put that in with a tiny little flat screwdriver. Just screw that screw back on there. And it goes tight. Just make sure it's tight. There we go. So now it should adjust. Yep. So now we're going to put it back in. Put it back in. It's just a reverse of what we did. Push that cable back in there. Not too far because we need it. The housing over. I should probably put the camera on this side, but all we're doing is grabbing the cable, sticking it on there, and it just snaps in place. It's on. We grab that connector, it's almost right next to the speedo. Just plug that in. You can see where it goes. Can't see what I'm doing. I've got this bright light shining over here because it's kind of dark in here. There it is. That one light bulb goes in here. It's a twist fit. Just line the pins up. And then same on this side. Dig that light bulb up. It's in here. There it is. So we slowly bring the cluster back. Get it past that cruise control switch. There. And then plug that bulb back in right here. You just got to find the two pins and just twist it. I'm trying to do this without looking at it so you guys can see, otherwise I'd have my face right in there looking. Dropped it. It is bucketing down outside. It's the first week of February. If anybody's watching this later on, that storm that just hit California, we're getting the tail end of it here in southern Arizona. It has been bucketing down. So now, just going to slowly whip the cluster back into place. Pull the wiper switch just out of the way a little bit so you can line it up. There's a pin in here and up here as well. There's a little, no there's not, just one pin, but there's a little pin that locates it. It locks it in place there. We're just gonna, it's not quite back far enough. There it is. Now it's in. Now we're good. I'm just letting the clock run for a little bit before I button it up. Here's something interesting, guys, for the hydraulic wipers. They actually run off the power steering pump. If I turn the wipers on, watch this. It's pretty cool. Turn them off. And I'll go back to park. There you go. It's pretty cool. I'm just letting this clock run before I button it up and make sure it's nothing goes wrong. So just putting it all back together and get the fascia back on. Getting the fascia back on could be a bit of a struggle, but once it sits in place it's pretty good. It's just getting it in here can sometimes be a bit of a pain, because you've got to get it in there, it's got to sink down in here, you've got to kind of sink it down. Sorry about me sniffing, guys, I'm cold. It's freezing cold outside. I'm just waiting for that clock to fire on its next. I think it fired between 11 and 12 when it's due. I don't know if you'll hear it. You'll hear it tick. No, still not. Because last time it fired between 11 and 12 seconds. There it goes. So it fired at 8. It's probably not precise, but it did fire. I heard it click. So now I'll just get all this screwed back in and then put the fascia back on. So now we put the fascia back in, but we've got to remember before we put it in there, we had to be in those two little tabs here. We've got to push them back, bend them back into shape. Right here. Push them up again. So they're flat. Oh, there's the dash won't fit back in the fascia panel. Now, pull the steering wheel down a bit, bring this over, you got to get it under there, like that. You just got to make sure you don't catch on those switches up there. See, you've got to get this fascia seated back down. I don't know if you probably can't see it on the camera. I've got to tilt the steering wheel. My legs are getting stuck into the wheel. There. In this corner here, we've got to get that dash in there. There we go. Now run. Then we just kind of bring it down, just kind of jiggle it. It will go back in. There it is, it's back in place. Simple as that. So now we just put the screws back in. It's simple as that. No, it's not really simple, but once you've done it a couple of times, it gets easier. Squeeze a little. There we go. Okay. That's it. In the centre, I can't see. Line up the screw hole. Can't see it. I'm gonna push it in a little bit. I need a flashlight so I can see. It's not quite seated in. And I did not find a build sheet under there. It's not quite back far enough. There it is. It's so dark in here. Can't see. Go. Two more screws. Alright, one more screw. Where did it go? Alright. Here it is. Come on, get in there. Screw's not grabbing. Okay, that's it. So that's it, done. So we've got the dash all back together. Watch the clock. Sorry about the flashing light, it's the GoPro. See if I can put my finger over the light bulb. Sounds nice. I like the ticking clock. Yeah, so the car's all back together. Yeah. Button her up. Why I don't worry too much about if they keep time or not is because usually I mean, that thing it's been sitting there a week or two, but normally I do disconnect the batteries. But there's no point disconnecting the battery in this yet, so I'll probably take it for a drive. Haven't driven this one in a while. My main two drives is the metallic maroon and the champagne colour. These are the two cars I mainly drive. This car here, I think I last drove it late last year. Took it to a cars and coffee night. Yeah, the top, I've owned the car about 3 years. The top was just done before I got the car. So the top's, it's not the correct top. It is the correct material, but not the correct stitching. But unless you want to wait a year for SMS Fabrics to send you the right one, and it's about $1,000 for the correct top, most people just settle for the one with the seams up here, where the seams should be over here. But yeah, if you're not into 100% show winning or concourse, yeah, they look good. It's getting a little bit dirty again, I need to scrub it. But yeah, it's a nice car. Need to do the headlight actuators on this one. This one's been sitting for a few weeks now. Yeah, I did the actuators on that in my last video. Yep, still good. I just got this covered up because I machine buffed this car out. It was getting a little, you can kind of see it here, it's a little bit oxidized down along the top of this fender. But this car's been repainted. Unfortunately, I can't take that rub strip off because they painted with the rub strips on, and the paint doesn't quite match underneath, so I'd rather leave that on than have a unmatching paint stripe. But anyway, so it's done. Thanks for hanging around. I hope you learned something about how to pull the dashes out of these. A lot of people have asked me how to do it and how to service the clock. That's for the 69s and very early 70s. I have had the clock out of that one. It's a Cartier clock, like I said. It's just, they're just cheap clocks. I don't know whether to put a late model quartz unit in it with a hidden battery, or I've got a couple of 69 parts cars. I might take the clock out of one of them and retrofit it into this, because those clocks work. I heard that one firing while I was in here. Like I say, it's been hardly ever used. The battery's still connected. And the clock's ticking away. Yeah, this runk. I know this car looks really rough, like it's a rust bucket, but this is all it is. It's just surface rust. The paint's peeled off. There is no rust in this car, not even around the roof. It is amazing. Absolutely smooth. The car was sold in Palm Springs. But anyway, I think I've mentioned it before. But so that's how you do the dash and retrieve the clock out of the cluster. So hope you guys learned something. Like I've always said, you know, if you're not a subscriber, please hit that subscribe button, help me out. Hit the likes and, you know, comment. Sometimes it takes me a few days to reply in the comments, but I do reply on everything. So thanks for joining in. Another day at the Lincoln Ranch, and I'll catch you on the next one.